Hi everyone, welcome to your next fact of the day. This one was one of my requests to do with endangered animals. I do have another request on the sea, don't worry, that one is coming as well. So, endangered animals, you might be wondering what this is all about. This is the IUCN Red List. Now, what this is, it's just basically a list that is used worldwide to show how close it could be a type of plant or a type of animal, how close it is to extinction. So, how well its population is, for example. Population is can be used for animals and plants as well. So, just how many of them are living. So, for instance, if the population of the tigers are decreasing, going down, then that's not a good thing at all. And this list kind of shows you what will happen if their numbers were to keep falling. Okay, now this list at the top of the list, which I'll go through, it shows animals that aren't in trouble. Their numbers are good. They're not in immediate danger at all. And the further down the list you go, the more danger that animal is in becoming extinct. So let's have a look at the list and some examples of animals that are in each part of it. So the first one is called the least concern. So these are at relatively low risk of extinction. So no concern whatsoever about these animals. For example, the red deer, which we've got in this country here, plenty of them about, and worldwide as well, no problem. This bird, don't know if you know what this is, a common bird. It is a starling. Starling. Now, worldwide, there's no concern with their numbers whatsoever. In Britain, I think the numbers are starting to fall, possibly worldwide as well. So they're watching them closely. The numbers are starting to go down, but at the moment, they are in this least concern category. And the fox, some of you will be pleased to know. Hopefully, all of you will be pleased to know that the fox is in this list as well of least concern. So there is a lot of animals in this part of the list, in this category of least concern, meaning that they're not in any danger at all. Their numbers are good. Let's go down the list then, and remember, the further down we go, think of it like the rarer the animal becomes. So there's the next one. This next one is near threatened, and these are likely to become vulnerable in the near future. So these are ones you've really got to keep an eye on. And the otter is one of them. So they are near threatened. So their numbers are going down. And the same here, this is a white rhino. So they are near threatened as well. And it says here likely to become vulnerable. So if it's here, the numbers are most likely going down. So they might end up in the next category down, which is vulnerable. Now, this one, vulnerable, means they are at a high risk of extinction in the wild, which is not good. So they might only exist on zoos, in zoos or farms or something like that. So the great panda, there's a few different types of panda. This is the great panda, and that is at a high risk of extinction in the wild. This one here, do you remember which type of elephant this is? This is an African elephant, so it's vulnerable just now. The great white shark as well is vulnerable. Just a fascinating animal, the great white shark, very misunderstood. They're learning about them all the time. So if I were you, I would have a look and look up some interesting stuff about great white sharks. They're fascinating things. And the polar bear as well. So these are all vulnerable. These are at high risk of becoming extinct in the wild, which is very worrying. And if we continue to go down the list, we have the endangered animals, and these are at a very high risk of extinction in the wild. A very high risk. And up here, there's a few different types of tigers. This one's called the Bengal tiger. The Bengal tiger. Now, its numbers are going down very fast, mainly because of hunting. They hunt them for their fur, and the destruction of the forests, where not only they live, but where their food lives as well, their prey. So if the forest is gone and their food source is gone, their prey, then they've got nothing to eat. So that's a big problem. There used to be hundreds and thousands of Bengal tigers in the wild, but now there's only about 2,500 or something. So you think that's a big difference between hundreds of thousands, and just 2,500 left. So yeah, they are at very high risk of extinction in the wild. This one here is a mountain gorilla. Look at the power, such a powerful animal that. There are less than 1,000 of these left in the wild. Maybe even only 800. And it's the same reason, hunting and destruction of the forests. Same problem, really, as the Bengal tiger has got. And the blue whale here as well, the biggest animal ever to have lived, is endangered at a high risk of extinction in the wild. Now, obviously, you're not going to find these in any zoos or aquariums. So basically, if they become extinct in the wild, they will become extinct. There's no places we'll be able to keep them. They're just far too big. So once they become extinct in the wild, they will be extinct fully. But the good news is with the blue whale is their numbers are going up, which is wonderful news. So maybe they'll go up to the previous category of vulnerable, which would be very good. So instead of being a very high risk, they'll just be at a high risk. But let's keep going down. Now, this is what is called not just endangered, but critically endangered. So extremely high risk of extinction in the wild. So do you know what this one here is? I've just got a few examples on each one. And we'll see there are more. Yep, this is a orangutan, and they are at really high risk. And again, it'll just be the loss of their what's called their habitat, their home, their trees and forests. This beautiful animal here is an Amur leopard, or Amur leopard. I'm not sure which one you would say. Amur, maybe Amur leopard. That sounds better. And same problem again, hunting, because they've got this beautiful fur that unfortunately people hunt them to get the fur and the forests as well, losing the forests as well. And there's only 84 of these left in the wild. 84 of those left in the wild. And we've got another type of rhino here called a black rhino. And they're extremely high risk of extinction in the wild too. So let's keep going down. Now the next step down is extinct in the wild. So survives only in captivity. So for example, at zoos would be or sort of animal parks and places like that. This first one here, it's quite tricky to find. It took me a while to find some good examples because quite often, if it's extinct in the wild, it will be extinct. Full stop. Some animals just don't like being in captivity and don't survive. For example, earlier we saw the great white shark. They just don't survive in aquariums or anything. So if they were to become extinct in the wild, then a bit like the blue whale, then that would be it. So, but I found a few examples. This one's called a Guam kingfisher, and it doesn't exist in the wild anymore. This one here, now this was a bit of a tricky one. This was a type of lion called a Barbary lion. They reckon one of the biggest lions. I think it's also known as an Atlas lion, and a few other names as well. Big lions, but they only exist in sort of zoos and places like that now as well. And whether they're pure Barbary lions, I'm not quite sure. There might be a bit of a mix now. But yeah, that's a type of lion that's no longer in the wild. And this one here is a black soft shell turtle that again doesn't exist in the wild anymore. And I'm thinking you'll know the last category, which is extinct. So not no surviving individuals in the wild or in captivity. So there are none left at all. This animal here is called the Tasmanian tiger, which used to be found in Australia. Look at it, it's amazing. You can see why it was called a tiger with these stripes. There are some people that still think that one or two exist, but there's no real evidence to say that they do. But there are people that are out there right now looking for them. But so far, no real evidence yet. They became extinct fully in 1936. So luckily there was the cameras were good enough back then to actually take a picture. This is a real picture of one, and before they became extinct in 1936. This one you'll probably all know is a dodo. They became extinct a good while ago. They used to live on an island called Mauritius, which I'm very lucky to have been to. Beautiful island. And yep, they got hunted until there was none left. So no more dodos, I'm afraid. This one here, I put a picture of this guy next to David Attenborough just to show you the size, the sheer size of him. This is a Pinta giant tortoise, and this was the last remaining one, called Lonesome George. They called him because there was no more of his kind left. And I think he died back in 2012 or something. So that was the Pinta giant tortoise. This one here, I think this is a drawing of something called a Guam flying fox. So there's absolutely no more of them either. But it's not all doom and gloom. The real thing I wanted you to take away from this is that there are lots and lots of organizations like the WWF, the World Wildlife Fund, who do lots of work to try and protect all these animals and get their numbers back up and protect the forest, protect their homes. There's lots of other organizations and people doing amazing work. And I'll just show you one or two examples here. Two are from this country. So, for example, this lovely, beautiful bird up here is one of my favorites, I have to say. And you can see them all around here in summer, though. Right now, they migrate. They travel to Africa for the winter. Do you know what it's called? They eat fish. They dive in the water. They grab the fish and they dive. They fly out of the water. Amazing bird called an osprey. And back in 1954, so almost 70 years ago, there was only one pair in the country. One pair. They were just hunted. Um, but now there's hundreds because people, did all these amazing things and got their numbers back up. And instead of doing one pair, now there's hundreds, and we're lucky now we can see them all over the place. Same with the red kite. They were nearly extinct in this country, like the osprey. And now there's hundreds. We even get them all up here now, which is just wonderful. And this lovely little bird, which we don't get in this country, this is a Mauritius kestrel. From the same island you would have found the dodo. There used to only be 5 of them left. 5. And that was it in the whole world. And now, thanks to the efforts from a lot of people, there are about 500 of them. So amazing stuff. And there's so many more of these amazing success stories. Maybe you'll be part of this one day. So it's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot going on to help save all these animals. But that just gives you an idea of how it works. There's a website you can go to as well, the IUCN Red List website, and you can just type in an animal's name, and it'll tell you whether it's sort of vulnerable, whether it's critically endangered, and it'll also tell you whether the numbers are going up or down. So it's if you want to check out an animal that you like, you can see what like it is. Okay then. So that's it. Also, check out some of the WWF stuff as well as other websites, other success stories. Share them with the class if you want. It's always nice to see these sort of things. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later. Bye.